Hey everyone, I'm Rob Scott from UC Today, bringing you all the news and conversation from the unified communications and collaboration space. So today, I'm joined by Ross Williams, who's the Chief Product Officer at Virsae, and we're going to be discussing the impact of real-time applications like unified communications and contact center solutions on enterprise environments, and how Virsae is using AI and machine learning to help automate service management in a hybrid workplace. Welcome, Ross.
Thanks, Rob. It's great to be here.
Thanks for joining me. Good to see you again.
And you?
How's things going?
Oh, good. We're all struggling through the pandemic, either side of the world.
Absolutely. Hey, Ross, just before we get started with today's conversation, how about we just do a quick introduction? Tell us a little bit about what you do at Virsae, please.
Okay, Rob. Well, I'm one of the founders of Virsae. So the business started in 2013. I've had a number of C-level positions, and the latest one, as you said before, is Chief Product Officer. So I look after, the features that go into the product, and as we are a SaaS business, cloud delivered, backed with DevOps, that's an ever-changing environment. So it's a great challenge. I really enjoy it.
Fantastic. Thanks for that. And today's conversation. So, IT professionals and managed service providers are facing a whole new set of challenges managing hybrid working environments nowadays. So, just to kick things off, how have enterprise IT environments changed in the past year?
Oh, everything changed. I guess everyone realises and has experienced firsthand the pandemic, where suddenly everyone left the enterprise and had to work remotely. So enterprise traffic practically hit the ground. It disappeared. And everyone started working from home. And in that the last 18 months or so, we've seen the rise of the cloud providers. So the UCaaS players. We've seen like Microsoft with their Teams offer. 11 times the number of daily active users they had pre-pandemic. And of course, buyer preference is well and truly towards cloud now. So no matter what application is being purchased, cloud first is definitely the preference.
Yeah, it's been a crazy past 12 months. We've certainly seen a transformation, haven't we? That digital transformation that we've been talking about for years and years and years seemed to just happen all of a sudden across 2020 and into 2021. So it's interesting. And in terms of some of those kind of priorities for enterprises, I'm picking up on automation is becoming more of a priority. Is that something that you're seeing at your end?
Doing more with less is a constant challenge for just about every business. But yeah, we're seeing automation's been around for a few years now, but we're seeing that transition to the ultimate in automation, I guess, and that's machine learning and AI. And as you know, and as you mentioned before, Virsae is quite a big player in that space and make use of that technology extensively.
Thanks for that. And in terms of the impact it's had on your managed service providers, your partners and IT professionals in these enterprise organizations, video must have had a huge impact on networks and just infrastructure and applications and whatnot. What's that been like?
Oh, it certainly has, and I saw a blog by Peer 5 earlier today, so shout out to those guys for the information I'm about to impart. But 93% of the meaning of communication is transmitted through non-verbal means. So the body language is key to conversations. They quoted a survey in there where 87% of the respondents said they felt more connected when they used video, and 98, in fact, said that video helps with relationship building, both internally and outside of the business. So, video is here to stay. There's challenges around that in the work from home or work from anywhere environment. As you know, those managing those unmanaged networks has become a major challenge for IT teams. And of course, when the pandemic ends and everyone starts to slowly dribble back into the office, again, thanks to our friends at Peer 5, they're saying, even if only 50% of people ever return to the office, network loading is going to be up by about 230%. So not only is there challenges in the work from home environment for video, But as workers return to the office and they bring those newfound skills with them, they're going to load up enterprise networks, which frankly most of them aren't ready for video as well. So there's challenges abound for the IT teams.
Yeah, that's it. I imagine that's a serious shock for a business in the local area network and the wide area network. Just being able to cope with video and the payload of that, as you say, some 200% increase. I mean, it's just significant, that, isn't it? In terms of we talk about service management and what you're doing at Virsae. I mean, I'm picking up a lot more around AI and machine learning in your space nowadays. I mean, how can you help? How can organisations and MSPs, for example, use AI and machine learning to kind of help tackle some of these challenges?
Yeah, good question, Rob. Going back a few years, you had both MSPs and customers, tended to have sort of the go-to engineers in the business, the guys that could really get under the hood, read logs. Often they're in hexadecimal. I've done a bit of that myself. But in today's world, there's just so much information available. There is just a staggering amount of data available in logs and APIs. And frankly, it's just impossible for a human to, take that in and to process that information. So there really is no choice but to turn to machine learning and artificial intelligence, which is really, really, really good at picking out patterns. So it kind of simulates what, a skilled engineer would do, comparing good scenarios to bad scenarios, working out what the difference is, and there's the answer to the problem typically. And that can all be automated particularly through machine learning.
Yeah, because I suppose we've got, all these clouds, we've got, serving applications to organisations and people everywhere now. And they've all got APIs, haven't they? Every cloud has an API, it seems. And I suppose are you trying to make sense of that data, using your platform, Ross? Is that a fair description?
Yeah, absolutely, Rob. And the more data you can get your hands on, the better and more effective your machine learning is. So it really is a combination of big data and machine learning. And being a provider that uses a global platform like we do, we have the benefit of global data. So to give you an idea, we analyse call quality on about 600 million calls per month and growing. We'll hit 1 billion before too much longer. And if you think about those interactions, so take a simple outbound audio call via a Teams solution with direct routing. You've got the Graph API, which is giving you a tremendous amount of information about what's going on from a Microsoft perspective. And you need to add to that, particularly with direct routing or Operator Connect, the latest sort of offer from Microsoft. There's an SBC in the mix as well, so you should be picking up the logs out of the SBC, as well as like session traces. Joining all that together with information, if you can get it, from the home network, that unmanaged network where there's a consumer grade internet connection, there's goodness knows what in terms of a router capability, dodgy Wi-Fi, and if you're in a particularly dense urban area like I live in an apartment, and you search on your Wi-Fi, there is literally hundreds of networks. So there's a lot of contention for bandwidth. So there's a lot of stuff that can go wrong. Add on top of that the working environment itself, which can generate noise and can be less than satisfactory for a lot of workers. So you mentioned before about it was good we could do the session up because your kids had left. They're not hogging your bandwidth, they're not making a whole lot of noise. Well, that's a very common people, and we can bring all that information together. So we've got an approach that takes all of that information, joins it all together, and really paints that end-to-end view right from sort of beyond the headset even. So like, room to room rather than even just headset to headset.
And that was going to be my next question. End to end, you mean right to the home worker that might be sat on a regular broadband connection we're talking?
Yeah, exactly. So as the person responsible for product, and Teams came on the scene, and in fact a lot of cloud-based providers came on the scene. I set off on a mission to find out the 10 most common causes of impairment in terms of both the customer experience and the user experience. Because bear in mind, we've got to focus in on the workers at home as well. We've got to support them as a management team, make sure that they are happy and productive. So giving them a good experience is really crucial, and that's crucial to staff retention as well. So we've teamed up with Jabra, and we're getting analytics out of the headset that can paint a picture of what's going on in that home environment. The headsets now, the modern headsets, have a lot of settings that can be tuned to those environments. It could be that given what's going on in a particular home, management might want to invest in a better headset. They might look at the internet connection and say, hey, why don't we move all of our home workers off their regular ISPs onto a business grade service from another ISP. And they often want to know, companies that approach us for that sort of information want to know which ISP will provide the best level of performance in that geographical area, which of course we're able to help them with.
That is truly amazing that you can get an API out of a headset and ingest that data and that those insights and create insights out of that data from something that's very, very far away and disconnected. So in terms of how you kind of wrap this up for your customers and your partners, how does Virsae kind of take this to market?
Right. Well, what we've put together, and I'll just show you on my screen, we've got a kind of a tripartite approach to resolving these problems and creating a solution. So on the left, we've got the regular API into the XCaaS providers, and that picks up information about sessions. They might be audio, video, screen sharing. Some of that can come and go throughout. It can be meetings, and some of those APIs are richer than others. But we pick it up, so we know when there's been user activity, and take that opportunity to join it together with everyone else. So other providers, session border controller is a particularly key component in this. All the manufacturers, all the large manufacturers of session border controllers we have relationships with, and we can pick up session traces and logs and all sorts of information out of those session border controllers. So we refer to that as technical analytics, and that can paint sort of a picture of what's going on in the environment. But the 10 most common problems that I referred to before, when I researched this, and I was really staggered, across all of the manufacturers, those 10 most common problems do not happen in the provider's cloud. They happen either within the home workers' environment, be that the physical environment or their technical environment, within their ISP, or between their ISP and the XCaaS provider. So we've developed a little application here under this work from home analytics area. It's called VSM Everywhere. It's a very light application. It's actually a common code set with our Windows server agent that we run, and that's common code set with our large enterprise collector. So it's kind of like a Russian doll, and this is the very smallest one, but it does some really key things. So it knows what's going on in that environment. It knows if there's contention for resources on the PC. It knows which applications are sort of fighting it out and causing problems. It knows what's going on from a Wi-Fi or a wired connection perspective, and also has within it has the APIs into the headset to pick up the third part, which is the room analytics. So what's going on inside that room? How is the end user using that headset? Are they constantly hitting the volume up, volume down button? Are they on and off the mute? Do they over talk? So when there's audio in the earpiece, are they talking? Which can kind of indicate a lag or maybe a poor environment. But anyway, all that information can be picked up and shipped through to whoever needs to know about it and to deal with it. So we're finding managers and management style, they're really quite willing to invest in that end users working environment and their needs working remotely. And if you think about it, it's a lot cheaper to do that than it is to put desks inside an enterprise office in a CBD somewhere around the world. So it's a win all round for everyone. But the key to it is picking up those three areas, to paint that full, really immersive, end-to-end, room-to-room visibility of what's going on.
Yeah, that's really interesting. You're absolutely right. In the hybrid workplace, this is an absolute essential tool. I don't think I can imagine a small to medium sized and enterprise, of course, business without this kind of solution. So, for anyone watching that wants to find out more about Virsae and VSM everywhere, what's the best way to find out more?
Well, unfortunately, we won't be travelling probably until into next year. So perhaps Enterprise Connect to catch up face to face. But you can always hit the website at www.virsae.com, and there's a wealth of information there. You can reach out to our salespeople via that channel.
Fantastic. Hey, Ross, it's been really good to talk to you today, and thanks for running us through everything. Thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, it's been a pleasure, Rob. Appreciate it.
And that's it from us. If you've enjoyed today's session, please subscribe to UC Today News and give this video a quick share on social. As you know, it's always appreciated. And if you're a UC fan and want to be part of the conversation, you can join us using the UC News hashtag on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. And our social links, as always, are in the description. So I'm Rob Scott from UC Today. Thanks for watching.